Okay, you guys know that I can't get enough talking about youth sports. As you are familiar with me, I've got 4 kids. My 16-year-old son, he plays 3 sports in high school: golf, basketball, and baseball. My daughter, volleyball, basketball, does track. And my 10-year-old is playing volleyball and basketball. My 5-year-old has informed us that she will be better than all of her siblings once she gets old enough. So we spent a lot of time around the youth sports culture. And there are really incredible things about sports, as a former athlete myself, that I am so excited to expose all of my children to. But being around the travel ball situation and the youth sports culture, there's so much that is left to be desired. And we are going to now welcome Cons from Barstool on to the show, barstoolsports.com. We're excited to have you here. When I saw your article, it was published in April on barstoolsports.com. There's a lot of people listening right now here in the St. Louis area who are going to go, ooh, either guilty or I know people who are like this. Parents getting drunk at Little League baseball games and harassing umpires all across America is the latest stain on youth sports culture. Cons, thanks for being here with us today. It's good to have you.
Annie, thank you so much. I can't relate to you fully yet. My children are 3 and about to be 1, but I'm also a former athlete, collegiate athlete. So I come at it through that lens. And I've only recently started to really hone in on this youth sports culture and how rampant the ridiculousness is. So I appreciate you having me on to chat.
Yeah, brace for impact here. According to my research, you quarterback the Army Black Knights football team. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service. We're very grateful for that here at 97.1 and the Annie Frey Show. And secondly, what a cool experience that must have been. You know what it's like to compete at a high level, and you know that it takes preparation and dedication, but it also has to be fun. And I see that being sucked out of the life of kids who are trying to play sports when they are youths because maybe the parents' dreams and alcohol consumption's a little out of hand.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I think let's start with the parents' dreams, because I think, and I'm generalizing here, but I think so often the parents that are driving their kids and think they're doing their best for their kids, they just don't understand because they topped out at, 8th grade basketball and they never played at any higher level than that. So they think, well, if I just get my kid playing one sport, it's Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours, they're going to be the next Alex Rodriguez. And that is just not the case. And you mentioned your kids playing multiple sports. I think that is freaking awesome. I was a football, basketball, baseball guy, swam in the summers, golf. But then the other thing was, whatever kind of sport my friends and I were kind of itching for, we played it in a pickup style.
Yes.
In somebody's driveway, somebody's backyard, a baseball field somewhere. And simple games too, like Kill the Carrier. And you probably can't even say that name anymore.
You can.
Or King of the Hill, where you would try to run up a hill and your friends would just try to throw you down a hill. So all these fun ways to get your athletic thirst quenched. And it just doesn't happen anymore. And these parents, they think, well, my 11-year-old, they're destined for greatness. And I can't imagine at 11, for as much as I loved sports, if I had to go to multiple practices and travel 4 hours, 5 hours to play in tournaments on the weekend, I don't know if that love would have survived.
No.
Maybe it would have, but I don't know.
Yeah. Captain Cons from Barstool Sports with us here on the Annie Frey Show. The thing of it is, too, and I've noticed this with my son, he's been playing baseball since he was 5 in Little League, a couple years in Little League. Then we kind of did the select ball, but when everything's select, nothing is select. My husband decided to create his own team so that we could be in control of some of the crazy, keep the costs down for the good. We wanted good families who wanted to compete. It wasn't like, give me the best kid, and if you suck, get out of here. You're 7 and you should have made something of yourself by now.
Right.
But for parents, too, and it really creeps up on you fast, you're so afraid that as a parent, you're going to make the wrong decision and your kid's going to get left out. That your kid's going to get, you as mom, you as dad aren't going to have made the choice that puts them in the opportunity to see if they could be really successful by it. There's so much fear that is imposed on families, specifically parents, and then the money. Oh my gosh, the money that it costs to sign up for a select league and then to go, you spend your entire childhood, all your weekends are traveling and staying in hotels. It's a scam. It's a scam for kids these days.
Yes, I am not looking forward to that, and I am holding out hope that somehow, some way, it shifts by the time my kids are old enough to be playing these sports. But I just think back to how my parents were, and they're always very supportive, but not overbearing. And you talk about the costs, you're not going to be able to get the best kids if you're traveling that much and trying to afford hotels. And then going back to my article that I wrote, I think this is where the parents think like, well, I'm making these sacrifices, so I have a right to be drinking during the day on Saturday because I'm giving up my Saturday for my child. Well, you're a parent. You're supposed to make sacrifices for your child. That doesn't necessarily entitle you to then do something as a result. And what sort of example are you setting if by the end of Johnny's triple header that he played in the 98-degree heat, that you're completely hammered and then getting in a car and driving back to that hotel? So there's just like so many angles that make me unsure about the future of youth sports and really kind of upset because, like you said, there's so much to be gained from playing sports.
So much.
Cons, this is Ryan. I've got kids, same kind of relative age as Annie, where they're 12, and 9, so we're right in the thick of the sports. Do you think it would help to have every parent sign a waiver that says, I understand that there is a 0.0006% chance that my child goes pro? Because that has helped me a lot in the perspective.
Yes. So I will say, like, that's where I kind of, it really is a delicate dance, I think, as a parent, because you look at the statistics, and not even pro, but the statistics of a child playing a sport in college is minuscule. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind, all the while encouraging your child to do the best that they can. And I don't think you ever want to tell your child, like, hey, man, there's only a 1% chance you're going to make it. So
I did say that to my son.
Before it gets, before we waste too much more money. What do you think? You take up crocheting or something. I don't know. So that's like a really delicate balance because you do want to be the best parent that you can be. But where I think these parents get into trouble is they don't know any better. And then you have these predatory coaches.
Yes.
These predatory gyms that have you thinking at 12 years old, your kid needs to be in a gym doing all these drills and weightlifting and speed training. Do you know how I did speed training at 12? I don't know. I just ran around and chased people. We played games at recess.
Yeah.
And listen, I get that the world, and specifically in this country, things have changed where, for whatever reason, kids are not outside anymore. And my face lights up when I drive by certain parts of my neighborhood and I see kids just outside doing simple games. And that's where you would used to get all that quote unquote athletic training and skill development that just doesn't exist anymore. But it is so incumbent upon the parents to step in and be the adults here. And that's the problem. Going back to my original article is you got parents not making sound decisions.
Yeah. I think that there's not really a precedence for what families have been dealing with right now because it's been kind of commoditized or industrialized. Kids are now a commodity, and there's a couple grand sitting with every family who doesn't want to be left behind because the other kids are doing it. So you got to do it too, and you got to keep up. It's so stressful to participate in, and it sucks the fun out of childhood. I feel like we're selling our kids like the most precious thing that you have in your lifetime is your childhood. Like when you're talking about the things like, what do you remember from being a kid? You're talking about goofy stuff that you did outside. You're problem solving when you're trying to come up with games or try to create things outside. We're putting it in a hotel room with a 4-game guarantee on a weekend where you paid $2,500 to get into the league and you're paying another $1,000 just to stay in the hotel all weekend. And the expense is it's not your weekend that's gone. Eventually you look back and you're like, we spent the whole childhood doing this, and the kids gets to 16 and they're like, I really would rather just do weightlifting. They don't want to even do the sport anymore.
Right. Yeah, they're just completely burned out. I think about the first time I stayed in a hotel for a sport, and it wasn't until high school, and we did a baseball tournament for my high school team up in Cooperstown, and I remember how exciting that was to go away that one time.
Yeah.
But because I was older and I could appreciate that, I don't think that would have been as fun if I was doing it weekend after weekend after weekend with the way these schedules present themselves. Because also, okay, you're done with the game at, I don't know, 4 o'clock, you go get dinner with the family, and then you're a kid and you're just sitting in a hotel room every night of the weekend. How is that fun? And you're not, it's not like these locations, and I'm sure there's, probably tournaments at like Disney World or whatever, but I'm sure they're in very remote areas where you're just staying in a hotel off the side of the highway. It's not any sort of destination. You're not doing other things while you're traveling. And all the while, you could have just traveled 10 minutes to the town next to you
a lot of times
and gotten the same experience.
A lot of times you travel 4 or 5 hours away and you're playing the same teams that are from your county. And it's like, what the heck?
It's nonsense. It's not. And then do you find that like parents are saying, other parents are coming to these realizations like, wait a second, guys, we just traveled 4 hours and we're playing the town next to us. Why did we do this?
Yes.
Are more parents realizing this?
Well, yeah. And, with my son being 16, he plays in the high school team. So he is competing and he loves it. Like I've said to my daughter, who's a very good volleyball athlete, good basketball athlete, I keep saying, like, you want to play AAU? You want to go play on a club volleyball team? She keeps saying no. And I said, you need to know that the second that you really want this, you need to come tell me. But I'm not asking you to ever do this. Like, this has got to be 100% driven by the kid. And the families that are around it. Like, I see families spending money on it that I don't necessarily know that can afford it. I know that I would have to move money around in order to afford more club teams for my kids. That everybody, it almost looks like everyone's like, you go first. Like, we got to change the way things are going. But I'm not going to put my kid on the line to change the system. We need people like you that aren't there yet to be like, get together with your friends and say, we're going to do something different.
Right, because what parent is going to allow their child to be the sacrificial lamb to say, I'm not doing that? And it's scary because the hardest thing, I'm sure, as your children grow is to ostracize them from a group.
Yes.
So making them be the isolated person is next to an impossible task, but something I think has to break. And I don't know what that is yet. So maybe I'll start to get to work and try to figure that out.
Well, there's a huge opportunity for people who are in your position who are definitely going to want to participate. It's so great. Sports are so great. I contribute so much of my abilities as an adult, as an employee, as a team, like a coworker, to understanding how to play team sports and to try to succeed and to better myself. One last question before we let you go. We're speaking with Captain Cons from Barstool Sports. Surrounds the World Cup and the way the youth sports culture is in the United States. Now, we don't do soccer in my house. There's a lot of baseball, a lot of volleyball, a lot of basketball, but it's kind of like most American houses. Honestly, we're all kind of coming to that realization. But there's some criticism about the way we cultivate talent in our country, and that the commoditization of youth sports has made it so that we're not actually highlighting the very best, which is the most ironic thing of it all. Like, you think you're getting into these travel sports, these high dollar commitments in these clubs so that you can be among the best, but everybody's doing it. So who's the best? How would we even know? And then you get to a situation with the World Cup and we just don't have the talent at that level that other countries do.
Yeah, I do. I am a firm believer, and you do need to nurture it to an extent, but I am a firm believer that the cream will rise to the top. You can identify, especially once you get to the high school age, you can start to know, okay, who's going to be that person, that guy, that girl that goes and play at the next level. Those people just start to stand out. And a lot of times they start to stand out in multiple sports too. Yeah. That's a key indicator where you see, he has a good football season, and then he goes right into basketball season and he's a starter on the basketball team as well. Those things work themselves out. And as it relates to the World Cup and the youth sports and I can't even begin to try to understand soccer because thankfully, I got cut from my travel soccer team in 3rd grade, and that's what pushed me to football, which kind of like set me on the course for the rest of my life. So I'm grateful for that. But everything I understand that the discourse has been around about soccer is that we are not getting our best talent. And that goes into, I think, a bigger conversation about this country and the importance that we place. I mean, I'm biased, but the importance we place on like football specifically and how big football is in this country. So if you're a good athlete, you're not going to gravitate towards soccer. You're going to try to go to football or basketball or baseball. So I just think that soccer being like 6 rungs lower on the ladder are preventing our best players. And certainly it's not being helped by the youth sports culture and the way that I don't want to use the word, the way that we grow players to become playing at that highest level.
Well, I am always excited to shine a spotlight on youth sports because it's one of the most important things that existed in my childhood, but also watching it in my kids' childhood. Definitely don't want to get rid of it, but I want to preserve it. And the direction it's heading right now, I don't think is one that preserves it at all for the kids who need to use that as an opportunity, yes, to grow as athletes, but to grow as people as well. So thank you for talking with us today about it. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. Sorry, really quickly, I want to say one last thing too. You know what we should ban in youth sports? Parents posting about their kids on social media.
Oh,
then
yes!
There's kids feeling the pressure.
Yes!
Like, I got to do well today so mom can put me on her Instagram story.
I talk
Stop
about this.
it.
Oh, my gosh.
Nobody
I
wants to watch your kid's 12-year-old baseball game highlights. I promise you.
I have said on the air before that I see these posts from other people, and I don't want to be that person. Not, they're just proud of their kids. I understand that.
Yes.
But I almost am so compelled to even it out that I want to be like, my kid was up in the bottom of the 7th inning in the game. They were down by 1 and the bases are loaded, and he struck out and lost. But I love him anyway. And my kid's like, Mom, don't do that. Please don't do that. Sorry, tough love, kiddo. Yeah. Thank you for being with us. Please come back. We'd love to have you again.
Would love to join you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you for your service as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Captain Cons from Barstool, host of the Bold American podcast on Barstool Sports. New guest to the Annie Frey Show. Love having him on here.